Sounds good.
All right, what's up, everyone? This is the Osmo.com Hit the Ice Show. I'm Jake Hari here with Steve Homercleese Bauer. Back again for the 9-gamer tonight. Should be a really, really fun slate. Was pretty easy to pick out who I wanted to write about in the stacks this morning. There's like 7 or 8 lines that I'm pretty excited about. So, good MME night. The pricing's softer than I would like on DraftKings. I'm sure it's probably the same way over on FanDuel. But yeah, it should be a pretty good slate, and it's got me in a good mood. So how are you doing, Steve?
Not too bad at all. Yeah, there's a lot of good spots tonight. I think it's going to be tough to narrow it down to a few options. We agree on quite a few spots so far as our top picks. But yeah, there are plenty of options tonight, so it's a good night to spread things around a little bit, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to do. You saw the schedule, the public schedule on Osmo.com. You can see this on our email blast. I don't know why I had that up right now, but I guess I can just talk about it there while you guys all see it. Lineup Builder is on the screen right now. You can still get Osmo Premium with promo code HITTHEICE. No spaces in that. It's a free 7-day trial to Osmo.com. Any NHL Premium package that's not FC included, you can get Fantasy Cruncher as an add-on. If you do like the package and you do sign up for Premium for the long term. Yeah, let's get to it. 9 games. Well, first, let's talk about, do you see anything being noteworthy on ownership tonight? Because I really don't. I think it's going to be nice and spread around outside of maybe Columbus 1.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. It's funny because I thought, given the betting line and that and how many good spots there were, maybe people would be distracted and not really all go there. But I mean, it seems like the top spot to target. That's definitely the first place I looked.
Yeah, it just seems like too good of a spot to, well, at least ignore. If you're playing single entry stuff, maybe I would want to get away from it. Like if you're just a one lineup person, I'd probably want to get away from it because there are other really good spots. But MME, there's just no way I'm not getting a good amount of exposure to this line. Mm-hmm. Just like scrolling around, I don't see a ton of other lines. Like Pittsburgh-Toronto has a high total, but the pricing is fair, I think. Whereas you're seeing some soft pricing elsewhere.
And there's also a lot of different options within that game.
Yeah,
multiple lines on both teams that you could realistically target. So
for sure,
that's going to spread things around too.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. San Jose might get up there a little bit, but again, 2 lines there that you can play. Anytime the Islanders are on the slate, the past 6-7 months, they've always been a target. So it should be quite a bit of fun. So I'm looking at that $8 on DraftKings and gonna get a ton of lineups in there and try to take it down. I understand you had a pretty decent night on FanDuel outside of the John Gibson blunder at the end.
Yeah, it could have been slightly better, but it was still a good night overall. So I've been having a lot more success there so far this season with the MME approach. So I'll probably continue to do that and play limited entries on DraftKings for now.
All right. I'm gonna stick mostly to DraftKings, but we'll talk about both here. All right, let's go to Pittsburgh and Toronto. We'll start it off with the high total game on the night: 3.1 for the Penguins, 3.5 for the Leafs. We have Matt Murray at goal against Frederik Andersen. 2 pretty expensive goalies. Actually, I've got FanDuel pulled up. Decently priced on DraftKings, actually. $7,300 for Murray, $7,600 for Frederik Andersen. Going to be a lot of shots. Those are 2 guys that I'm going to have a decent amount of exposure to, especially when I'm correlating, because I'm going to be on all sides of this game. It's expected to be very high event. So if the goalies are standing on their heads, could see a huge score there, or you're going to see a lot of goals scored. What sticks out to you here, Steve? I know you mentioned that there's 2 lines on each side that we can consider.
Yeah. Well, the top thing I notice is, at least with the Leafs lines, is the Matthews line is way higher event than any of the other lines in this game. So they're creating a ton of offense, but they're also giving up a ton as well. And the matchup game's kind of tough to play with the Leafs because, Babcock just kind of changes it up by game based on who he wants Matthews to go against. last game, he surprisingly went against Kopitar. That didn't really make a lot of sense to me in theory, based on what he's done in the past. So it's going to be hard to predict the line matching here. So it's not something I'm really going to look into. I like both these lines. It's really hard to go away from them. Both lines on the Leafs, and then they're just so bad defensively as well as far as giving up shots and opportunities. I'll just have a mix of all of them. I think it's pretty tough to go away from. I think the Pittsburgh top line is interesting to me. The Malkin line's been doing most of the damage so far this year. Crosby hasn't really got off to a good start. But looking at the numbers last year, his line with Gensel and Rust had pretty solid possession metrics and scoring chance numbers as well. So I think they're going to go kind of under the radar in this matchup, probably the least owned of all four lines. So they're interesting as well.
The Crosby line. Crosby line is going to be the least owned?
Yeah.
Because they're they stuck out to me as the best value with Rust on there.
Yep.
He's not a guy like that I'll avoid. I mean, he can do some things offensively. He's not like you look at the other side, like Zach Hyman would be a guy that I would get away from at 4,300, but Rust is a guy I'll play, especially playing with Crosby and Gensel. And
especially at that price, right? He's,
for sure.
What is he? 3,400. I think that's solid. He hasn't had a great season so far, but he's proven in the past that he can contribute when he steps up on these lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm totally willing to take a chance on a sweet matchup like this, and especially being on the top line with Crosby. So.
Yep, that's my lean on Pittsburgh side, and then I think I lean a little bit to Tavares Marner, but as I mentioned, I don't like playing Hyman, so probably not going to be a ton of full stacks. Kapanen is pretty expensive on DraftKings, almost $6K, and then no power play correlation on that Matthews line, so just that's the only gripe I have with them.
I think it's a very clear difference in sites here. I think on DraftKings, Tavares Marner makes for the better value play overall. And then on FanDuel, Kapanen's still incredibly cheap, and then Tavares and Matthews are pretty close in price.
Yeah.
But if you're going to give me $900 discount from Matthews to Tavares, I'll take that tonight as far as value goes.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Goalies, I kind of talked about them off the top, but Murray at 7,300, coming back from a concussion, I believe.
Yeah.
He's 7,300. Are you willing to take a risk there? You're probably going to see a ton of shots.
Yeah, I suppose he's worth a shot. I mean, I don't love it. I think I'd rather play Anderson if I'm playing either of the two goalies. At only 300 more on DraftKings. Pittsburgh can go cold at times a little bit more than Toronto, I think.
Okay. Anderson fairly priced, and he too, we're expecting to see a lot of shots. So don't let the goal totals worry you if you're playing goalies here. You want that huge performance, and both these guys could easily see like 35, 40 shots, and even if you give up a couple goals, you're still in a good spot if you get the win.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good point. I wouldn't touch this. I wouldn't touch either goalie in cash games, of course. But yeah, in GPPs, we are looking for that outlier performance as something that Osimo has said in the past. It's something he really looks for. So yeah, the shot volume is going to be there. That's kind of what we want in GPPs. So I wouldn't shy away in GPPs.
Yep. I'm just going to post this link to the chat, and then we will get on to it.
By the way, nice call last Leaf game on Gardner there. Ended up being a really good play there. A couple assists, I think it was.
Yeah. He ended up doing okay for me. I don't know, man, I'm trying to think what night that was, but yeah, he was the guy that I liked over Riley, I guess, just because of the same.
Yeah, it was the LA game, so what, 3 days ago, Monday night, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Defenseman, are you going back to Gardner? Do you like Riley gets the power play one time? That's obviously a very lethal power play.
Yeah.
But he's 6,200, and then Letang 6,400 top power play. I don't really see other options on Pittsburgh that I'm willing to roll out.
Yeah. Toronto's penalty kill hasn't been very bad, so it's not something I'm going to actively target here. But in the past, they've been pretty poor against defensemen. I'm not sure if it's carried through to this season, but. Okay. Yeah, I think he's a good spot, but it's not someone I'm going to force him at that price.
All right, cool. Let's move it on. Let's see. Next game we have is Colorado and New Jersey. We have Philip Grubauer going against Keith Kincaid, 2.8 total for the Avalanche, 3.2 for New Jersey. Two basically one-line teams as far as full stacks.
Pretty much.
So I'm repping Taylor Holiday, but I'm not really playing much of him, at least not right now. I know the McKinnon line was worse on the road last year. They played higher event both ways on the road.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we're going to see a lot of New Jersey 1 against Colorado 1, judging by what the Devils did in their last home game. Did you see that as well? The Zajac line kind of matched. I can't remember who they were playing, but they did match them for 7 or 8
The second
minutes.
line. Yeah, they did. They had Zajac, Coleman, and Wood hard matching against the Sagan line.
Yeah.
So I think that's possible again.
Yeah, that's fresh. I would like to see the Colorado 1 go up against New Jersey 1. That could be a lot of fun.
Very,
both sides.
very high event.
Yeah. And I don't know, they may still do that. We're dealing with short samples and trying to get into the coaches' heads. I know that they used Hall a lot in shutdown last year, so maybe they go back to that here. But it's just really the top two lines for me, and they're no more than MME plays. That's about all I have for this game.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not super interested in the Colorado top line. I mean, someone as talented as McKinnon is kind of matchup proof in a sense, but New Jersey's shown no real holes defensively, no reason for me to want to target them. They limit high danger chances against. Their penalty kill has been solid. So I really don't see a reason to do this on the road tonight, given how many other great spots there are. I do have a lot more interest in the Hall line, though.
Okay.
That's pretty much the only thing from this game that I'm playing.
So Palmieri is up to 7K.
Yeah,
he just keeps scoring.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
Was he
goal
7
in each of his-
goals in 4 games?
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
And he scored it right away last game. I think that was the first goal of the night.
Yeah, didn't have to wait at all.
So if you're in on him, might as well play him for 7K. He is shooting a lot, and he plays with a line that's kind of underrated, I think. Maybe not so much this year, but last year for sure. The Heischer Hall Palmieri line had a ton of success. So that's going to be a line I go to in MME, which I'm doing tonight. Looking at the chat, Makad, I'll be in NBA chat. I'll dish out some hot takes. Favorite goalie of the night? Who's your favorite stack and goalie? We'll talk about those kind of.
Yeah, let's get through the show first, and then we can summarize.
Yeah. Jason Kelly. I've never interacted with someone wearing a Devils shirt. Yeah, I'm not a Devils fan, just a Taylor Hall fan. All right, so defenseman in this game, Tyson Barrie for me, under 5K still on DraftKings, and then I don't really like
price. You know what? I kind of prefer Eric Johnson in this matchup. Tyson Barrie's good when they're going to get a lot of power play opportunities, and it's a good power play matchup. I think he obviously has the more offensive upside, but I just really like the shots and blocks for Eric Johnson.
Okay, that's fair. And then on the Devils side, Vatanen is 5K, but he's still not listed on the top power play, so that kind of takes away my interest for him.
But again, the same deal there. The much better shot and block for. If he can chip in any offense, it pays off really well. Butcher again is purely results-based, scoring-based guy. He needs the goals and assists to pay off really. And I think he was a little banged up recently, so he's playing a little banged up. He's gonna play. It looks like, but he left last game with an injury.
Yep, that's what I see as well. So I don't know, maybe he doesn't get the top power play time, or if he has to leave early, then Vatanen probably slots in.
Yeah.
And it's not like Butcher's free anymore, so he's kind of off the table for me unless I'm going with like a full New Jersey power play stack.
Well, I just think on DraftKings, he only really gets assists, and those aren't quite as valuable there. I mean, that's only 4 shots or blocks to get an assist, so
yeah.
It's not super high upside play. It's just kind of GPP correlation with the Hall and Palmieri stack.
Yep. All right, I'm trying to read chat here. Good afternoon, Vots. Would
What's up,
be more
bots?
helpful to go position by position? I don't think it would be. I think it's more helpful to go game by game so you don't miss stuff.
We can summarize things at the end, but yeah, I think it's best to talk through the games
Yeah.
one by one first, and then get a summary at the end.
Agreed. Grubauer 7,200, Keith Kincaid 7,900. Any of these guys super interesting to you?
I mean, Kincaid's played great so far. I'd much rather play him than Grubauer.
Okay. I think I'm right there with you. I'm not crazy about Grubauer in this spot for 7,200. All right. Let's go to the next game. Philadelphia and Columbus. We have a 2.7 total for Philadelphia, 3.2 for Columbus. Calvin Pickard going for, almost said the Phillies, the Flyers, 6,900 there. And then Bobrovsky going for the Blue Jackets. Again, this is probably going to be one of the chalky spots of the night. The Columbus top line, you get them for under 18K. I wrote about them this morning. I'm sure everyone's going to be on them that plays NHL DFS. Flyers giving up the most high danger chances against per 60 through their first few games. So it just seems like a good matchup all around. They can avoid the Couturier line if they choose to, and they don't really hard match anyways. So they're going to see a little bit of everyone, and the Flyers overall have been pretty poor defensively. So where are you at here, Steve?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. And then they're starting Calvin Pickard in net, so it's just not a. Overall, I'm surprised at how bad Philly's been at 5-on-5 defensively this year. They were a pretty decent team last year, so I don't know if it's just working out some early season kinks or what it is. I expect them to bounce back eventually at some point in the season, but right now they're just kind of floundering defensively. So I don't see why you wouldn't target them. And yeah, it's really hard for me to go away from this top line. I mean, on the one hand, on the power plays, you mentioned they are kind of split up. So that's tricky there from a correlation standpoint. You know, if they score a lot on the power play, it could be, you know, the full stack might not pay off. That could be a reason to go away from it from an ownership perspective. But it's just such a strong 5-on-5 line that I have a hard time going away.
Yeah, the 5-on-5 matchup's just too good, and the price is too good. So even if you don't have full correlation on the power play, I don't think that's that big of an issue for this price in this spot. Any of the depth lines look appealing to you? Wenberg line maybe for Columbus?
I'm looking up some Columbus depth line stats. I think maybe the Wenberg line is interesting. I'm just going to take a look at some of these stats here, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's going to be on the top line for Columbus, but overall, Philadelphia's just been a bad defensive team, as we've mentioned a number of times. So sometimes just dropping down to that second line, and maybe the matchups go a little bit differently than we expected, and they're just so cheap. Of course,
and then even the third line there too has a couple of good pieces as far as shot attempts on that go. Jenner and Anderson have been pretty solid this year as far as that goes, and Jenner's now on the top power play unit. So he's interesting there, and same with Anderson. Riley Nash isn't a big offensive guy, so that kind of hurts the line as a whole. But yeah, Foligno and Wenberg look like solid pieces there, and Duclair's on the top power play unit as well. So there's some correlation there, I guess. Looking at the new units right now, I don't really. Okay, they've kind of changed it a bit again, according to Daily Faceoff. I don't know how accurate that is, but they have the Atkinson and Panarin on the same unit again now. So I don't know if they're sticking with that. But something like Foligno and Duclair are also on that unit and play together at even strength. Assuming that's accurate, I'll have to look into that a little deeper, see if I can find anything from the beat writers.
Yeah, but that actually changed from when I looked at it this morning. So Atkinson and Panarin were not on the same unit, and now they're with Werenski, which
that's
you like that a ton. Right? Yeah. So maybe they're not going with the balanced approach. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You're playing them for even strength. If they get there on the power play, it's a good chance one of those guys or two of those guys is getting in on the scoring.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I wouldn't try to make any particular power play stacks here because you don't know what's going to stick.
Right.
So
Werenski, the guy on D for Columbus. No Seth Jones. He gets a bump. He's 5,500. I think that's a fair price for him. And then anything on the Philly depth lines or the defenseman there?
I think mostly just interested in the top line there. Simmons is a decent enough one-off. He's scoring goals in that, but that line hasn't really been a great possession line at even strength. So it's not something I would ever want to stack.
Yeah, you're getting those guys for the top line for Philadelphia for what, 17K?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty nice. So they were popping a little bit for me, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of ownership there. Columbus is an okay 5-on-5 team, like they're nothing special. So not a team I want to avoid, not a team I want to actively target against. But if Philadelphia 1 does come up, I'm not going to be too upset about it. And then Gostisbehere is the guy that you want with them.
I think looking closer at some of these Columbus lines, the second and third line have been brutal defensively, just based on possession metrics and scoring chances a lot. Just terrible numbers. So
on the Columbus side?
Yeah.
Oh.
In general, they haven't been a great defensive team so far this year. They've been giving up a lot of goals.
Huh.
So I think Philly is interesting, especially if they're not going to hard match the lines there. I think that makes the Philly top line even more interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so goalies here, Picard, Bobrovsky. I mean, Bobrovsky, one of the best goalies in the NHL, but as you can see on Osmo's rankings, not a great value at 8,200, but it's not going to be too tough to fit him in if you're stacking that top line, so that is a nice bonus.
Yeah, for as bad as Philly's been, they've still been scoring goals. As bad as they've been defensively, they've still been getting goals. So I think it's kind of a tough matchup for that price.
Yeah. All right. Oh, Sanheim is a guy that's also popping up for me a little bit. He had decent shot attempt numbers per 60. The problem is he's only playing like 15, 16 minutes a night. So you're going to need him to do something pretty quick. But he is 2,700, and he is listed on the second power play. So he's a guy that I'm punting with.
For 2,700, I don't think you need to be all that picky about ice time on that. Right. So that's pretty good. Yeah, that's a good find there.
All right, cool. Let's go to the next game. We've got Detroit and Tampa Bay. Looks like Jimmy Howard is listed at the top of the depth chart, but there's been no confirmation on Detroit's side. Vasilevsky is going for Tampa. This is going to be one of the higher owned spots of the night, and I'm assuming it's going to be the Kucherov line. So Johnson, Palat, Kucherov. It's going to see a lot of ownership on DraftKings, especially. But this looks like just a great spot for Tampa Bay. Do you have a strong lean to the top two lines there? One of the top two?
Well, we guessed wrong last game, but
yeah, right.
The main surprise I think for me is we assumed that Braden Point was going to be the shutdown line, right? As he's always been. Mm-hmm. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. They had the third line as the shutdown line. That was just completely out of left field and completely uncharacteristic for them. So that's another lesson to be learned as far as, you can do your best job as far as predicting line matching, but then you always, the coach can always throw you a curveball there. So something to keep in mind going forward.
Right. So, I mean, as far as line matching in this specific game, I would assume they just play Cirelli against the top line? Or they roll? I don't know.
It's hard to tell. They did actively line match against Carolina.
Yeah.
But not in the way I would have expected. They had Point against the third line of Carolina.
Yeah.
So
Johnson going up against Detroit or Carolina 2.
Yeah.
So
Detroit's also completely messed around with their lines too. So it's not like we could have any data as to what's the better matchup. I think they're all great matchups. So from this point, we just want the best offensive potential from any of those lines. I think the power play is obviously in a fantastic spot against Detroit. He's been taking a ton of penalties and have had a pretty brutal penalty kill.
Yep. When in doubt, just go with the power play stack here for Tampa. If you can't choose between the two lines, just go with the 4 or 5 man power play stack. Get exposure to both lines. It's just a great spot for the Tampa power play. I think Detroit has been shorthanded on an average 4 times per game to start off the season. You're in big trouble if you're putting Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, Hedman on the power play multiple times. So if they can't figure it out, this is going to be a rout for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at the numbers of the two Tampa Bay lines, the through a couple games, the Kucherov line has much better offensive numbers, and the point line's been incredibly dull, not generating anything, not giving anything up.
Yep.
So that it makes the Kucherov line more interesting. But in this particular matchup, I think you're just betting on talent. I think the point Stamkos and Gourde are definitely playable. I wouldn't shy away from playing them tonight. They'll come at lower ownership than the other line. That's just one thing.
Yeah, and you looking at pricing. It's a really good spot for them for point Stamkos, Gordy line, no matter who they go up against. But they're more expensive than like Winnipeg won. They're more expensive than I think Edmonton won. They're more expensive than the other Tampa line. They're more expensive than Columbus won. Philadelphia won. Yeah. So I think they're going to get a little bit lost in the shuffle. And that Johnson line is going to come in at higher ownership. So going to try to get exposure to both sides of it. Although I do prefer the Kucherov line over the Stamkos line.
Yeah. The one issue I'm having with this is such a good power play matchup for them, but that top power play unit is so spread out. They have their forwards are spread out across 4 even strength lines. So stacking is pretty horrible. They have Stamkos, Kucherov, Killorn, and Miller as the 4 forwards, and they're all on separate even strength lines.
Oh, I didn't see Miller up there.
So that's terrible to me as far as stacking. So it's really tough to do a power play stack there. If you're going to do anything, I think the secondary unit is interesting as 3-man mini stacks. You could do something like Point and Gourde with Sergachev, or Palat and Johnson with Sergachev, something like that.
Sure.
Or just little 2-man stacks there, and leave out the big expensive guys, Stamkos and Kucherov. I don't know. I mean, you can get a little creative if you're going to play this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a monster 3.5 total for Tampa here. So
I just think we can have some interesting correlations here that it's going to affect stacking in one way or the other.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was thinking of doing I like doing like a 5-man, so maybe not perfectly correlating the PPE, but something like Johnson, Kucherov, and then getting like Point and Stamkos, or just going with like one of the 3 lines and taking another forward from the other line, and or one of the 2 lines taking a forward from the other part of the top 6, and just trying to catch as many goals as you can, because this is they're all getting power play time in some fashion. So
I like that idea a lot. Detroit's getting smashed. Tampa Bay seems to have found their stride scoring goals, so I think this could be a decent enough onslaught spot like that.
Yeah, the Josh stack.
Yeah,
that's certainly viable tonight. Vasilevsky, 8,500, great win equity, but just super expensive on DraftKings. I'm sure he's expensive on FanDuel as well. And then, does it make a difference for you who goes in net for Detroit?
No.
Okay, didn't think so.
No. Yeah.
Hey Jake, I thought you were going to win $20,000 last night on NBA. You're thinking of a different Jake. I didn't play NBA last night. I'm sure I'll do it at some point, but no. Focusing on hockey. Gotta get my game better. Once I start baking hockey tournaments, then I'll degen some NBA and donate some back. All right. Anything else in this game? Defenseman. It's Hedman for me.
Hedman. I think I will include Sergachev given the power play matchup here.
Yep, for sure.
I like that a lot. And Detroit, I don't love those line combos at all.
No.
I've been waiting to go heavily on Larkin all season, but they've saddled him with Helm. And last game when we were expecting it to be Larkin, Nyquist, and Mantha, they threw a curveball last minute and played Helm with him the entire game.
It's just
it's amazing. I don't know what's going on there.
Like, play Athanasiou up there, play Bertuzzi, play anyone but Darren Helm, and I don't even know who else they could put up there, but Advocator, Clendening, any of these guys, they're just awful. Terrible coaching job there.
So I don't know if I would touch Detroit tonight at all.
No, I don't think it's necessary. All right, Vancouver and Winnipeg. We have 2.6 total for Vancouver, 3.4 for Winnipeg. High total here for the Jets as a home team. Anders Nilsson going for Vancouver. Connor Hellebuck for the Jets. Winnipeg won is underpriced on DraftKings. We saw them up around like 21K at times last year in these kind of spots. Vancouver's been getting crushed 5-on-5, top 6 in shots against per 60, scoring chances, high danger chances, all the good stuff. So this looks like a great spot again for the Winnipeg top 6, similar to the last game. You prefer the top line, but I'm going to have a bunch of that second line as well.
Yeah, for sure. I like that call. Yeah, it's interesting. You see those numbers on Vancouver, and somehow they're still winning games. I just don't get it. I don't know where this is coming from. I haven't looked quite in depth about what they're doing here, but their high danger chances, expected goals against suggest they should come crashing down to earth pretty soon. But yeah, I don't know. And then the offensive numbers for Winnipeg haven't been great numbers wise, but this is a bet on talent kind of game for me.
Yeah,
obviously really like Winnipeg. Vancouver takes a ton of penalties. Great spot for their power play. Patrick Laine, once again, is my top play in this game overall. Just, he's shooting the puck a ton. He was, I think he had almost 10 shots on goal or whatever last game. And Vancouver's just giving up so much. Great power play matchup for him. Just at 6,500, that's way too cheap for this matchup.
Agreed. You can get in the full Winnipeg 1 power play stack. Dustin Byfuglien expected to be back, 5,700 here. This is just an awesome spot for him, and you can fit him in pretty easily because of the fact that Winnipeg 1 is underpriced, and then Laine not a bad fourth forward if you're going with that kind of thing. So this is, I guess we mentioned 2 of the 3 onslaught spots I like quite a bit. You probably know what the third one is, but this is, I don't know. There's nothing bad to say about this matchup for the top 6. I don't really want to play Brian Little, but Ehlers Laine, mini stack, some sort of Winnipeg 1 power play stack is what I'm going to be looking at here. Edler, a human vacuum. That's a good transition. Do you have any interest in Vancouver's side, whether it be Edler or the Horvat, Baertschi, Besser line?
Well, yeah, it would be power play for Vancouver for me. So I guess that whole top line stays together on the power play. Winnipeg's weakness has been the penalty kill, big time. Taking a lot of penalties and just not having a very good kill. So Edler brings his amazing shot blocking floor with some offensive upside tonight. So I think he's a great spot, and I think that a top line Vancouver stack is perfectly fine too.
Yeah, I like it. Man, they're pretty underpriced too. Besser and Horvat. Man, Besser at 5,200. Like, that's a really nice one-off.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a slump to start the year. He's got a couple goals actually. That's not too bad. He's been heating it up the last few games. Yeah. For first 3 games, he hasn't brought much offense, but now he's starting to heat up a bit. So I like him a lot for 5,200, I guess, right now.
For sure. Just a high volume shooter, and that's a really good price on DraftKings.
That's the biggest thing is shot attempts have gone up.
The last few games I have?
Yeah.
I'm seeing the shots on goal did, but so
shots on goal as well.
Okay, cool. Nilsson, do you have the stones to do it at 6,800 if you're one-offing?
Yeah, it's fine. I think you can maybe not one-offing him. I think I'd probably just keep him with Vancouver stacks there. They've been winning games. I don't know how they're doing it, but
isn't Nilsson he's the road goalie who just crushes whenever he's on the road. So he's had 3 starts in the road, 3 wins. He's allowed 2 goals twice and 1 goal in the other one.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous so far. I don't know how they're doing it, but yeah, I guess play him while he's hot. Goalies are very streaky.
It's a pretty nice regression spot for Vancouver here. They just get crushed. All right, let's go on to the next game. Arizona and Chicago. We have Antti Ranta going up against Corey Crawford, making his first start since I think before Christmas it was.
I think he said 10 months he's been out or something.
Yeah. Yep. So he definitely hasn't started since he hasn't started in 2018, which is kind of amazing. So good to see him back here, but he comes in at 8,300. Ronta 7,100. Blackhawks 2.9 total, 2.5 for Arizona. Has this one dropped? I thought this was a 6 total earlier in the day, but maybe I had that wrong. Anyways,
that's true.
I don't have a ton in this game besides the Tays line has been very good at even strength offensively, and they're probably going to go up against Stepan, so I don't really like either side of that matchup all that much. And then I think the Kane line will get the softer matchup. I don't know a ton about Alexander. Is it 14?
410?
14? But he has had quite a few chances.
I assume it's French. It's probably 410.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he is 3,300 skated with Schmaltz and Kane this morning. Brandon Saad was possibly going to be a healthy scratch, but it looks like he's going to play, but be on the fourth line.
Saad. Interesting.
So I don't really know how long this guy will be up there with Kane and Schmaltz, but he makes them pretty affordable. So that's the line I prefer in this Chicago game, and then don't really love anything on Arizona. Where are you at, Steve?
I kind of like that Arizona top line still. I'm going to keep going with them. Their possession numbers have been great. They've been generating a lot of shots. And Chicago's not a very good defensive team right now. So if you look at all their games, they've been very high event. They have one of the highest paces. They play at one of the highest paces of the entire league. And they're giving up the fourth most expected goals at even strength. The Coyotes are top 4 in the league in shots on goal and dead last in goals scored. So they're definitely due for some regression here. Their 5-on-5 shooting percentage is 0%. I'm gonna guess that regresses, and I'm willing to take a shot on this spot tonight. So I'll have a decent amount of the Arizona top line, but I'll also play a lot of Crawford as well in case they still remain snake bitten. I think it's a good hedge spot. We're definitely sure to see some volume here. They're just generating a ton of shots, so I think this could be a very high event matchup for them.
Yeah. So as you're talking, looks like middle of the pack in high danger chances. So they definitely shouldn't have. Yep. What is it? 4 goals, or just like a few goals through 5 games or whatever.
They've only scored, I think, on the power play and shorthanded. I think they only have 3 goals or something.
Yeah, that's crazy through 5 games.
So it's a bit foolish to keep going back, but they're the underlying numbers are there. They're still generating attempts and stuff like that. So
get a maybe rusty Corey Crawford here.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. The guy hasn't played in 10 months, so maybe he's rusty. Maybe he's on his game and has an amazing performance. So I think both sides of this coin are very appealing to me.
I mean, even if he is Corey Crawford of old, like he's still not a guy that I avoid. So. And the Blackhawks defense is definitely not one that I want to avoid here. So if I'm going to an Arizona line, it would be the top one. They just correlate so well. They get a lot of minutes. I mean, you're not that worried about the Tays line. They've been pretty high event both ways. So, I like the call on Arizona 1 actually more than
so this is kind of my favorite contrarian spot of the night. Oh,
favorite contrarian, nice.
Yeah.
They're not too expensive either. Let's see, just over 15K. That's a really nice filler stack. With them, you would want to go with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, or maybe Goligoski if you're punting. I don't know.
Yeah, I think another guy that just came on the scene last game is Jordan Osterley. He's a pretty high event kind of guy as well, as far as shots and blocks go. So he's an interesting punt here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I think he's going to pop up a little bit. Is he confirmed in? I'm seeing in another spot. They don't have him listed, but
Osterley?
Yeah.
I know he played last game. That's all I can really tell. I have to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure he's in.
Okay. Yeah, Osmo's got him in there as an A value. Look at that. On the same page.
Based on, if you look at his stats on different teams, that was his first game playing for Arizona, but he played with Chicago last year, and I think I'm not sure if he played for another team. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he was pretty high event kind of guy, and his price is pretty cheap right now compared to what he can do.
For sure. All right. Oh, silly former Hawk, yeah.
And obviously, I still like the Chicago lines as well.
The Tays or the Kane or What's your lean?
They're both pretty solid. We haven't really seen much action with this Fortan guy playing with Kane and Schmaltz, so I feel a lot better about the Taves line right now. But his price has also gone up considerably too.
Are you worried? The Stepan line's pretty decent defensively, if I remember correctly. Are you worried about that matchup?
Their expected goals against are pretty not that great this year so far.
Oh, okay.
So I think it'll be a high event matchup overall.
Okay, cool. And Cahoon is just 3,700, and he's listed on the second power play, so a nice boost for him, even though the top power play is where you want to be on the Hawks.
I think neither team is really taking a lot of penalties so far this year, so I don't expect a ton of power play action tonight.
Okay.
That could always change. It's early in the year, right?
Right. Yeah. We're dealing with small samples here, trying to be fortune tellers.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's probably the biggest lesson is to not read too much into early season samples there.
Yeah, I've already got myself in trouble doing that. So.
Yeah, I've learned my lesson a few times so far this year.
Maybe just not overthink it and think about it more as on a team level and trust Vegas a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Boston. We've got Boston and Edmonton here. Pretty even game. 3 total for the Bruins, 2.9 for the Oilers. Boston is on a back-to-back after playing last night in Calgary. That game did not go as we expected. The back line got there offensively. The Boston one got there offensively. So we were both off on that one. So that was unfortunate.
For sure.
In this one, probably going to see, I guess we don't know for sure, but my read was that we're going to see Edmonton 1 going up against Boston 1 because, I mean, who else are you going to put on the Bergeron line? You going to go with Draisaitl? Right? I mean,
it's possible, right? But this is Edmonton's first home game of the year, so we don't really know what they're going to do. So this is their home opener.
I wonder what they did last year. I was going to look this up last night. But
yeah, I'll check the date here. What was the last time they played? I'm sure they had Draisaitl with McDavid last year, so that might change things and make it a little bit more difficult. But they played February 20th last year, so I'm just going to try to pull that up real quick. February 20th. Yeah, they did. They had 2 lines on. Actually, they didn't have. They had Draisaitl and McDavid separate, and they shared equal amount of time against the Bergeron line.
Okay.
And the Bergeron line destroyed them from a puck possession standpoint.
Fun stuff. I mean, you'd kind of expect that.
Yeah, they murdered them from a puck possession standpoint.
Oh wait, was it like 17 to 4 shots or something?
Yeah.
Maybe I did look this up last night.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
They had an over 80% Corsi for percentage against in that game.
That's getting dominated for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, you probably like the Boston ones here, but they're the most expensive line of the night. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of ownership. And back to back too, there's just so many other cheap ones. Or relatively
I haven't seen a lot of value lines that I like, so that's going to make it tough to fit them in.
I've got, I don't know, I maybe got one in the next game, the Sharks game, but yeah, I agree. There's not a ton to love here.
I mean, you're throwing up prayers with the cheap lines you can fit with the Bergeron line.
So I'm looking at one right now, the Adam Gaudette line for Vancouver. We didn't really mention them, but they're dirt cheap on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Problem is he only played 8 minutes last time out. So.
Yeah, that's tough. So yeah, you're looking at lines like that. You're looking at like the second line for the Islanders, the Nelson, Lee, Everly. Second line for Philly, Colorado. Maybe the third line for the Sharks is interesting. I don't know if you're gonna get to that.
Oh no, I was looking on the other side, the Buffalo side, maybe.
Oh, okay, the middle stat line, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of what you're looking at, right? You're looking at second, third lines here that haven't really blown up yet.
Right.
And you're just hoping for good games there.
Yep. McDavid line, I mean, they're going to see some time against Bergeron. So, I don't know. I don't really love him, but, like, Nugent Hopkins and Ratty are pretty cheap. So, and he is matchup proof. I mean, McDavid himself is. Mm-hmm. He can always make things happen, as you saw last game in a tough spot in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that was on the power play, but I know they got there in a big way, including.
Yeah, their power play's been doing most of the damage this year, which is kind of surprising.
Weren't they like historically bad on the power play last year?
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Yeah. So
they had some weird quirks too. Like their home penalty kill was terrible. They were pretty decent on the road, but yeah. So it's just weird stuff like that. You'll see some weird in-season samples like that, and it could just be noise. You don't know, but it could be a mental thing for them too. I know hockey's a big mental sport.
Yeah. All right, Talbot here, 7,200, basically in a pick'em. Osmo has him as a C value, D points grade, so not a great outlook there. And then he actually looks like he prefers Halak, a C points grade, B value.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm comfortable playing either one of these guys. Talbot just cheap and got a decent chance to win the game, but not crazy about either one as a one-off.
I don't mind either goalie. Yeah, like you said, I don't mind either one. If I was gonna just do one off, it would probably be Halak.
Okay.
I slightly prefer him, but as far as if you're gonna play either of the top lines there, I think the goalie stack is fine.
All right. Clefbaum on power play 1 is 4,200, and then Darnell Nurse has actually been attempting a ton of shots, something like 26 attempts in his first few games this year, which is, I mean, he's a guy who's always been able to shoot, but yeah,
and he's a high minutes guy too.
Yeah. So I don't mind him if you're getting away from Clefbaum. The problem is Nurse is $200 more and not on the top power play.
Yeah, the thing is, Clefbaum's normally a high volume guy, but he hasn't really been that this year. So I don't really know what's going on there.
Yeah. Who knows? You got anything else on the Boston blue line, or you want to move on?
Yeah, not really. I mean, McAvoy's been their kind of higher peripheral guy, and then Grzelcyk has that power play correlation, but that's really all he is. He's kind of like a butcher.
Yep.
As far as DraftKings plays go.
I agree.
Yeah. So not huge on their defensemen, but they're fine to include in some stacks.
All right, let's go to the Islanders and the Kings. We have Robin Leonard going up against likely Jonathan Quick, not confirmed just yet, so you're going to want to...
he was in the starters crease, so...
Yeah.
Thinking it's likely? Yeah.
Yep. Just double check on that if you're thinking about playing him. In this game, 5.5 total. Man, when's the last time the Islanders have had a total under 6? I can't remember the last time. But the Kings, not a super high-powered offense. There are a couple lineup notes that we should mention here. Toffoli is on the top line with Kopitar and Iafallo, and then Kovalchuk is down with Carter, who's playing wing, and then Amadio is centering them, and he's at 2,900 on DraftKings. So not a ton of data on the second line, obviously, with Kovalchuk. But that top line, the Kopitar, Toffoli, Iafallo line, I know had some success last year in limited time. But do any of these lines interest you? Islanders are on the back-to-back on the road as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think LA's going to go somewhat overlooked because they haven't had a lot of offense so far this year, and those lines are changing and all that. But I'm very interested in that top line.
Yeah, Kopitar. Would you leave on Iafallo?
I mean, he's been so useless, but...
And he's 4,500. He's more expensive than Zach Hyman.
Yeah, I don't know where they get that pricing from.
Is he doing anything this year? Because I remember he's
been better this year.
Poorly.
Mainly, it was his first few games of the season. He had a pretty hot start, but other than that, the shot volume's not really there. He has a couple games with 3 shots, and I think I could leave him on for sure. Yeah.
All right.
What I'm fine also doing, Toffoli's not even on the top power play unit. Yeah, that's annoying.
They hate Toffoli. They absolutely hate him.
Yeah.
He'll probably be on the 4th line 3 shifts in, so
yeah.
They probably won't like how he goes after a puck or something. Islanders side or defenseman in this game? Anything?
Not big on the Islanders here. I think a Carter Kovalchuk Doughty stack's fine too.
Carter Kovalchuk. Okay.
Something like that.
Full power play 1 correlation. That's nice.
Yeah, the Islanders' depth lines have not been good.
Yeah. They haven't been as bad as last year. The second half of last year, the Islanders haven't been, but still not a team I'm worried about targeting against, especially when they're on the road, when they're on the second half of a road back-to-back as well. So I will have some Kings. It's going to be mostly Kopitar with Toffoli and Iafallo, but just wanted to get your take on whether or not you'd be okay leaving in Iafallo.
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, yeah, because there's no power play correlation with just Kopitar and Toffoli, so I don't really see a reason to just do a 2-man there. Might as well just go the whole 3.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Jonathan Quick, 8K. He's a little bit more expensive, or a little bit less expensive than some of the other big favorites tonight, but so I don't know. He's decent if you're playing cash or whatever, I guess, for 8K, but I'd like to get a cheaper goalie in cash anyways.
Yeah, are there any appealing options for cash here at cheaper prices?
I mean, Martin Jones is the same price.
Yeah.
Anderson,
Yep.
maybe? Frederik Anderson, 7,600, just because he's going to see so many shots. Or Bobrovsky.
I suppose that's fine. Maybe even Talbot at 7,200 is a favorite, I think.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of risky.
Yeah. It's not pretty looking for value goalies here.
Yeah. Maybe Kincaid at 79, possibly. I don't know. There's not a lot of spots I love based on the pricing system here.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the last game of the night. Buffalo and San Jose. We have a 2.3 implied total for the Sabres, 3.1 for the Sharks, maybe even a little bit more than that once these get updated. But I love the Sharks here. The top line, Pavelski, Kane, LeBanc. That's a line I think is underpriced. I wrote about them this morning, so you can go check that out on osmo.com. And then Couture line with Timo Meier, and it's supposed to be Tomas Hertl. I think he's going to play. Is that what you have? Because right now we have Gambrel in there, but I thought
I need to double check on that news. Why?
He didn't skate this morning. And
he didn't skate. Oh, so he was probably just filling in his spot?
Yeah.
Was it a maintenance day?
I believe so. And so, yeah, he missed the Sharks morning skate, but will play on Thursday. So he's good to go. But obviously make sure weird stuff can happen. So just ignore this for now. It'll be Tomas Hertl until further notice. Which line for the Sharks or not at all?
All 3 Sharks lines are appealing to me in this matchup, honestly. The top line seems the best one. The Kane, Pavelski, LeBanc line seems like the best one. But look at some of these insane numbers on that third line for San Jose. The Sumela, Donskoy, Sorensen, they're even strength numbers. 91 Corsi 4 per 60. 39 against through 4 games.
What?
Their expected goals are 7.5 per 60.
Jeez.
If you need a very cheap line to fit in with someone like that Bergeron line, that is pretty nice.
Sumela, Donskoy. Who's the Sorensen? All right, let me.
Sorensen, yeah, the playoff hero.
Yeah, the playoff.
Look how cheap. He's 2,600. Sorensen.
Good God.
If you need some savings tonight, if you wanna go with some powerhouse lines, and you need some savings, I think that's a pretty interesting spot here. So I will have exposure to all 3 of these San Jose lines tonight. I think the top line's obviously the more reliable one, the one I'd like to hang my hat on a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think all 3 are in play.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's my super deep GPP play of the night.
Yeah.
San Jose 3.
26 minutes of ice time, so not nothing, but
not a huge sample, but they've been dominant.
Yeah. Do you know who they played against so far? I didn't know if it was.
I think Philly, they murdered the top line.
Really?
Yeah, let me just double check this. They spent some time. Yeah, they spent some time against the Philly top line, destroyed them. All of Philly, they destroyed. Really.
Okay, that's. You're talking me into
That's a reputable line to quote, I guess.
For sure.
New Jersey, what did they do against New Jersey? Nothing great in New Jersey.
All right, I got to make a note of them.
So this isn't obviously a line you'd want to play a ton of. Maybe you throw them in a couple lineups if you're playing a ton, like a lot of lineups. Say if you were doing like a 150 or whatever,
Yep.
maybe you have them in a small handful of lineups. But overall, I'd have them in less than 5% of anything you do.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So if you're doing a 20 max, maybe make one if you're going with Boston one or like a Tampa full power play stack or something like that.
Anything where you really want to
cheap.
pay up for guys. Yeah.
And you just need one goal out of them to make it worth it, and everything else is just extra after that. So I like the call.
It's risky, of course, but for that price,
but for those prices,
you don't really need a lot of success.
Right. All right. So Brent Burns, I think he's probably going to be my highest exposed player tonight. 6,300. Maybe not shooting as much as he was last year towards the end, but still ton of shot volume there. Osmo agrees. You see him with an A, points grade A value. Same with Carlson, actually. But I love Burns tonight for 6,300. That's really all I have on the San Jose side. Where are you at for defenseman there? Do you prefer Burns over Carlson?
Yeah, I think in general it's the better floor play. I think both of them are good options tonight. You can't really go away from them.
Yep. And then
can't go wrong with either, I should say.
Yeah. Anything on the Buffalo side, Eichel line, or that second line that I have a little bit of interest in, Middlestat, Oposo with Jeff Skinner. Either of those two.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be a priority for me tonight to play some Buffalo, but I think I can see paths to success for them. I don't love going against San Jose, particularly at even strength. They're a very solid possession team.
Yep.
So I think the appeal is probably on the power play for Buffalo. If they're going to have any success, it would probably come there. And if they're going to win, it would probably be San Jose peppering them with shots. Hutton stands on his head and they win a 1-0 or 2-1 game on the road. So I don't think we're going to see Buffalo going off for 4 goals or something tonight. So it kind of hurts the upside a little bit there. So I'd want to go cheaper here.
Yeah, you're saying it would need to be like a 2-1 game with like 38 shots on goal or something crazy.
Yeah. And I think Buffalo actually has a pretty good history of doing that to San Jose.
Really?
Yeah. San Jose's taken 3 straight, but there was a time, I remember talking about this with people in the past, just some of the big time letdown spots in San Jose for them. Buffalo seemed to have had their number for a while. But no, don't read into that too much.
Okay.
It's not going to be actionable information for you guys to make your lineups, so don't focus on that.
No Aaron Dell tonight. Martin Jones is 8K.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer Dell, but Jones obviously getting the start, so he's fine. Whatever. I don't think the shot volume is going to be there for him, though, as you alluded to.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be looking to get out of my way to play Jones. I think you're kind of looking for a shutout compared to some other goalies. He just doesn't have that kind of upside.
Yeah, totally agree. I think he's fine for cash, though.
Okay. Right. One question in chat. Can you talk about Amadio? Am I pronouncing that right for the Kings? Yeah. Amadio? He's 2,900 and centering 2 good wingers. So that's why I like him. And he gets power play time.
Yeah, that's the appeal. That's really all you need to know for that price. He doesn't really do much, but playing between those 2 guys certainly boosts. It would be a stacking play for me, a correlation play.
Yep.
You're relying on the 2 talented players to bring up his value. So
you need him to bump into a couple assists there.
Yeah, as a one-off play, people tend to just find the super cheap guy on the line with 2 good players and say automatic cash lock because he's only 2,900, which is not really how it works. I think the whole point of using a guy like that is correlation. He's only going to get points if the other guys go off, and so that's really where it comes in is stacking that kind of player.
Yeah, like a guy in that range that I'd rather use in cash. I know it's not the same position, but like Jesse Puljujarvi from Edmonton, like a guy who actually like he shot a ton last year, not as much this year, but I did see Corsi mention him in chat. So he's a guy that he's 3,100 and he shoots it a little bit. So he's playing with Draisaitl now, not on the fourth line. A lot of positives there for
that's interesting. He's a big shooter. For the longest time, they wanted to see him up with McDavid. He only got a very small run with him last year in his rookie year. Yep. So it's nice to see him getting bumped further up the lineup for sure. The higher he goes in the lineup, the more viable he is, of course.
Yep. So that's an example of someone I would want to play in cash.
It's Puljujärvi or something.
Puljujärvi?
Yeah. It's hard to say these Finnish names. Puljujärvi.
We'll just call him Pulj. That's what I'll.
The Finnish J's are Y's.
Y? Puljujärvi.
Yeah.
Puljujärvi.
There you go. Puljujärvi.
Top stacks for cash. You don't have to stack in cash on a 9-game slate.
I don't really stack in cash necessarily.
Have you been playing a lot of cash this year?
No, I only played like 1 or 2 nights so far. I'm more just concerned about overall point per dollar value for cash.
Yeah.
If you find multiple guys on a team, then that works out well.
Right.
That's totally fine. I'm not against stacking if they are the best values on a team.
For sure. Honestly, new to NHL. No, that's cool. What about top stacks for GPPs? We can kind of go over this. I know I forget about this sometimes, but who are your top 4 or 5 for GPPs tonight, Steve?
Yeah, so Columbus is the first place I'm looking. They're going to be the most popular, so keep that in mind with ownership. If you want more of a contrarian stack, when I say contrarian stack, you don't really need them in a lot of lineups. It's Arizona 1 is interesting to me as a line that won't really be used, hasn't had success yet this year, but their underlying numbers look strong. So Arizona 1 is kind of like if you're playing multiple lineups, a little contrarian there. But yeah, top of my head, other than that, I think I'm just going to mix and match for the rest. Columbus is my favorite play.
Okay. So I like just going kind of in order. The McKinnon line, I think, is interesting anytime they're going to be low owned. Philadelphia 1 and Columbus 1, both sides of that. And then, Tampa, I like the onslaught for Tampa. I mentioned San Jose in my article. And then my kind of super cheap stack is the Buffalo 2s, even though I don't love their even strength matchup, but I just like playing Skinner and Oposo together, and middle stats decent enough. I don't know how great he's going to be just yet, but decent passer.
He's a talented offensive guy.
Yeah. He went to my high school, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But anyways, so no bias there. I don't know him or anything. He's much, much younger than me, but so Buffalo 2 would be kind of my super contrarian cheap stack. What about hat trick, 2-goal performance tonight?
Let me see. Patrick Laine. Let's go back to the well.
Yeah, there you go.
This is his time. This is his time to shine. Especially after all that, the chirping, the Vancouver players getting rid of Fortnite from their road trips, or video games from their road trips.
Yeah,
that whole
weird.
There. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that's going to show up in the spot and score 3 on him.
All right, mine is, I didn't even realize this till just looking at it now, but I'll take Evander Kane in the good old revenge game against the Sabres.
I love it. So
maybe takes a couple extra shots. Yeah, a couple extra shots there for good old Evander. That's going to be my guy for the multi-goal performance. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, narrative. Boom, boom. I know you love the narratives. All right, promo code Hit the Ice. Free 7-day trial, anyosmo.com, non-fantasy cruncher subscription for NHL. You get my projections, Osmo's rankings, which are up on the screen. So you get access to those up until lock. We have the lineup builder that you see, and then you can get Fantasy Cruncher for add-on, as well as all of our free articles and such. And you can join for season long and or monthly and get access to the Slack chat, which is a very, very valuable tool and one that I learn a lot of stuff in. So, Steve, any last words of advice for the slate?
Nothing really to add. Just good luck tonight, guys. Hopefully you guys find some success, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, I suppose.
See you guys.
Cheers.